All right, Calculus 2, let's get into graphing polar coordinate equations and take this concept just a little bit further, right? It's often helpful to graph an equation expressed in polar coordinates in the Cartesian XY plane. And that's what we'll be talking about here. Techniques using symmetries and tangent lines to the graph that'll help us do that. First off, symmetry. So this is how we test for 3 standard types of symmetries when using polar coordinates. Just like before, we've seen this stuff before, but not with polar coordinates, right? So a symmetry test for polar graphs in the Cartesian XY plane are what we have here. So first off, for symmetry about the x-axis. If the point r theta lies on the graph, then the point r negative theta or negative r pi minus theta lies on the graph as well. For the y-axis, if the point r theta lies on the graph, then the point r pi minus theta or negative r negative theta also lies on the graph. And for number 3, symmetry about the origin. If the point r theta lies on the graph, then the point negative r theta or r theta plus pi also lies on the graph. So next up, we'll look at slope. The slope of a polar curve, r equals f of theta in the xy plane, is dy dx. But this is not given by the formula r prime equals df d theta. And to see why, think of the graph of f as the graph of the parametric equations x equals r cosine theta equals f theta, or f of theta cosine theta, right? Y equals r sine theta, which is f of theta sine theta. If f is a differentiable function of theta, then x and y are as well. And with dx d theta is not equal to 0, we can calculate dy dx from the parametric formula. Dy dx equals dy d theta over dx d theta. Right, that's from the previous section, or from 10.2 earlier, excuse me. Then we can substitute, right, so that gives us, right, d theta f of theta sine theta over d theta f of theta cosine theta. And then, right, using the product rule for derivatives, right, we can figure out those derivatives up top. Which means we see that dy dx is not the same as df d theta. It's actually this, right? So dy dx equals, and this is dy dx at the point r theta, equals f prime of theta sine theta plus f prime, or plus f of theta cosine theta over f prime theta cosine theta minus f theta sine theta. Right? Provided dx d theta does not equal 0 at some point r theta. And if the curve r equals f of theta passes through the origin at theta equals theta 0, then f of theta 0 equals 0, and the slope equation gives us, right, dy dx at 0, theta 0, it gives us f prime of theta 0 sine theta 0 over f prime of theta 0 cosine theta 0, which simply, we cancel the f prime theta 0 on top and bottom, and we're left with tangent theta 0. Right, so the slope at 0, theta 0 is tangent theta 0. And the reason we say slope at 0, theta 0, and not just slope at the origin, is that a polar curve can pass through the origin or any point more than once with different slopes at different theta values. That's not the case in our first example. So you want to graph the curve r equals 1 minus cosine theta in the Cartesian xy plane. Right? The curve is symmetric about the x-axis because r theta on the graph, right, is r equals 1 minus cosine theta. Right? Cosine theta equals cosine negative theta. Right? And r negative theta is also on the graph. So we know the curve is symmetric about the x-axis because the cosine function, right, for negative or positive theta is still the same, right? As theta increases from 0 to pi, cosine theta decreases from 1 to negative 1, and r equals 1 minus cosine theta increases from a minimum value of 0 back to a maximum value of 2. And as theta continues on from pi to 2 pi, right, cosine theta increases from negative 1 back to 1, and r decreases from 2 back to 0. And the curve starts to repeat when 0 equals, or theta equals 2 pi, right, because the cosine has a period of 2 pi, right? Remember that from trig. Right, that's period of 2 pi means that's when the cosine function repeats, right? It restarts there. The curve leaves the origin with a slope tangent 0 equals 0, and it returns to the origin with slope tangent of 2 pi equals 0. We make a table of values from theta equals 0 to theta equals pi, right? And we plot the points, and we draw a smooth curve through them with a horizontal tangent line at the origin, and then reflect the curve across the x-axis to complete the graph. And we have this little curve on the we have on the left here. This thing is called a cardioid because of its heart shape, right? This one down here. So example 2, we want to graph the curve r squared equals 4 cosine theta in the Cartesian xy plane. Right, well, the equation r squared equals 4 cosine theta, that requires cosine theta to be greater than or equal to 0. Right, so we get the entire graph by running theta from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. Right, the curve is symmetric about the x-axis because r theta on the graph, right, r squared equals 4 cosine theta, r squared equals 4 cosine negative theta, right, that's the same thing, right, cosine theta equals cosine negative theta equals r negative theta on the graph. Point is also, the curve is also symmetric about the origin because r theta on the graph gives us, right, r squared equals 4 cosine theta. If we plug in negative r for r squared, right, that gives us negative r squared on the left side equals 4 cosine theta, and that works out because negative r squared just goes positive, and that's equivalent to the point negative r theta being on the graph. And together, these two symmetries imply symmetry about the y-axis. And the curve passes through the origin when theta equals negative pi over 2 and theta equals pi over 2. It has a vertical tangent line both times because tangent theta there is infinite. For each value of theta in the interval between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, right, the formula r squared equals 4 cosine theta gives us two values of r. So r equals plus or minus 2 times the square root of cosine theta. We make a short table of values, right, we plot the corresponding points, and use information about symmetry and tangent lines to guide us in connecting the points with a smooth curve as shown below. And we end up with this, this two-sided sort of figure eight looking sort of loop going on here, right? Right, they are circular on both sides, right? So, and this one is going, right, they're both going in the same direction. They're both moving counterclockwise around these loops. So now we want to be able to convert a graph from the r theta plane to the xy plane. And one way to do this, one way to graph a polar equation, r equals f of theta in the xy plane, is to make a table of r theta values, plot the corresponding points there, and then connect them in order of increasing theta. And this works if enough points have been plotted to reveal all loops and dimples in the graph. Another method of graphing follows, right? First, you can graph the function r equals f of theta in the Cartesian r theta plane, then use that Cartesian graph as a table and a guide to sketch the polar coordinate graph in the xy plane. And sometimes this is better than just simple point plotting because the first Cartesian graph shows at a glance where r is positive, where it's negative, and where it doesn't exist, as well as where r is increasing and where it is decreasing. So here's an example. We want to graph the lemniscate curve r squared equals sine 2 theta in the Cartesian xy plane. Right, for this example, it's easier to first plot r squared instead of r as a function of theta in the Cartesian r squared theta plane, as we have over here on the left in figure 10.31 up above here, right? And we have r squared equals sine 2 theta. We get this graph up top, right? We plot r squared instead of r as a function of theta in the Cartesian r squared theta plane, right? So we pass from there to the graph of r equals plus or minus the square root of sine 2 theta, right? This is when we take the square root of both sides. In the second graph, right, we have the positive and negative parts from the square root given here. And then we draw the polar graph once we kind of see the shape of it, right? This graph up here kind of gives us the shape, right? We could have managed with either loop alone, right, with the two upper halves to draw this thing, or with the two lower halves, we could draw it that way, right? The double covering doesn't do us any harm, however, right? And we learn a little bit more about the behavior of the function doing it this way. So for us, right, when we're trying to graph these things in Desmos is really nice. You can actually just put, right, you can put a parametric equation or a parametric graph or polar graph, right, in Desmos, just directly r cosine theta, r sine theta as x and y terms, right? So Desmos is really useful for this stuff. But that's the end of section 10.4. Short one. It's about graphing. Just let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next one.